Hey, welcome back. Just want to go through some news that's been on my mind lately. Let's start off with the Nintendo NX. It looks like the Nintendo NX may be delayed for the time being. Now, all summer we've been waiting for the company to officially announce the details on the new console, which is supposed to be released around March 2017, I believe. But no announcement has been made, which would suggest that Nintendo is going to postpone the announcement until they believe they are ready to go through with it. Now, I don't have a problem with this approach, actually. In fact, it is Nintendo's way to delay until the product is at its most best to release. That has been the philosophy of Shigeru Miyamoto since, forever? I mean, they've done this with their games and consoles before. Actually, the Nintendo 64 was delayed for a while because Miyamoto was still working out the tweaks of the Super Mario 64. And we all know that the game and the console go hand in hand together. So, not only is that normal for Nintendo, but that happens a lot in animation as well. Now, what concerns me though, is that Nintendo might be repeating the same mistake that they made with the announcement to the Wii U. They messed up with the build-up to that console since they only allowed the guessing game and the rumor and the hype to build up over time to the point that they could never meet up to the expectations that were raised for them. I hope they will avoid that mistake this time around since we all know what happened to the Wii U. It was a flop. It didn't do good business for Nintendo, and they lost the video game console war to their competitors after they won with the original Wii. And Nintendo can't afford to make another huge mistake like that again. Although they seem to have more time on their side now thanks to the huge success of Pokemon Go. Now, who knows? Maybe, I don't know, they will launch the console earlier or later than March. Which, if you think about it, the release date of March was odd in itself because video game companies usually release their consoles during the holiday season. That's where they get the most business. I mean, maybe perhaps they will pull a Sega Saturn and shock everyone by announcing a new day, a new month. Perhaps around the holidays this time. So, I don't know. We shall see. Next up on the list is theme park news. Let's try the Great Movie Ride. If you haven't noticed, Disney's Hollywood Studios has been going under the knife this past year. Everything from the Backlot Tour to Disney Animation, and even the iconic water tower are all gone. All except for, you guessed it, the Great Movie Ride, which recently got a minor facelift courtesy of the folks at Turner Classic Movies, its new sponsor, along with finally tearing down that damn sorcerer's hat. Yes, thank God. Hated that sorcerer's hat. It always blocked the Chinese theater. Thank God it is now gone. That ride, as it is one of the few spots that's a relic of the old school Disney MGM period. But that may all change down the horizon, as rumors suggest that Disney may not renew its ties to TCM after the sponsorship ends. They won't renew the partnership as Disney plans to replace the ride with a totally new attraction based on the history of Mickey Mouse through his cartoons. What does this all mean? What do I have to think about all this? Well, I hate to say goodbye to TCM. Now, let's be honest. Normally, we live in a time where sponsorships really don't matter anymore for rides. But TCM and the Great Movie Ride were a match made in heaven. I was psyched when I first heard about the news a while back. My hope was that the folks at TCM would be involved in a huge makeover for the ride down the road ahead. So the thought of losing TCM, damn. Not to mention their Disney block that airs every few months on the channel, that would be a huge blow, no question. With all that said, the Great Movie Ride does need a huge makeover, with or without TCM. Let's be honest here. It's largely been the same ride since it first opened in 1989. They have scenes in that ride that ought to go, like the broken down musical number sequence at the very beginning of the attraction, or the gangster sequence, or that Tarzan and Jane set piece, which, why is that there still? I mean, why haven't they replaced that scene yet? That is so outdated. Well, I'll be sad to see a ride that celebrates film history from throughout time, sans Universal for obvious reasons, but I'll be sad that that attraction would be gone. It would also be really awesome to see a ride based on Mickey Mouse's evolution through history. Because think about it, as it turns out, there are no ride-throughs based on Mickey Mouse. Which, if you think about it, is kind of weird. No, not just weird, it's mind-blowing. Oh yeah, I mean, we've had Mickey's Filler Magic and the old Mickey Mouse Review, from the 80s. But those were all shows. This is a dark ride we're talking about here. And given the amount of space we have in the Great Movie Ride, just imagine all the stuff the Imagineers can think of that can fit under that huge roof. And the possibilities are limitless over how much of Mickey's history that they can put into that attraction, or the ride technology that they can use. So while I'll be sad to see the Great Movie Ride go, if the rumors are true, at least the ride will be replaced by a worthy idea, which I hope will make for a truly kick-ass ride. Here's the news that surprised me the other day. Cartoon Network's Emmy Award-winning show, Regular Show, is actually ending after 8 years. Mark Hamill, who voices Skip on the series, he kind of jumped the gun on Twitter about the show's end. But Cartoon Network finally made it official the other day. Regular Show will be ending after 8 years. And when I first heard it, I actually didn't believe it. I thought it was pretty weird to hear that series leave the airwaves. I always thought it would be on the air as long as Adventure Time was on, but it looks like Time will continue on without it by its side. Regular Show's exit, to me, is a big deal, because that series and Adventure Time, not only did they usher in a new era for Cartoon Network, but they also influenced the direction of animated shows on their rival channels like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel and Disney XD. And, they influenced them in the way that they tackled their stories and the art direction as well. Shows that had a very unique and quirky animation style. The kind that we normally won't find in a lot of mainstream television cartoons. It had a very independent look. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Now, that's not to say we didn't have that before. I mean, look no further than with Ren and Stimpy 25 years ago. That was a game changer that influenced everyone. Adventure Time and Regular Show followed Ren and Stimpy's course, obviously, but they brought a different flavor to it. They had, especially Regular Show had a jackassery sense of humor in all of their stories. It had a very out-of-the-box and spontaneous feel. And it also had a lot of good observational humor about the type of jokes that we make, to each other on any day or situation. And, underneath all those silly things on the surface, there was a level of deepness and self-awareness, about, nuanced things that really made those shows stand out from the rest of the pack. And ever since shows like The Regular Show, some cartoons have tried to either copy them or be influenced by them by adding their own spin. Some have succeeded, and some have failed, with the originals, along with those that were truly inspired by them, still standing at the end of the day. So, if there's any good that comes from this news, It's that the show will end on its own terms. It will have a series finale that will wrap things up, which is something that a lot of cartoons don't have. A lot of cartoons in the past, they don't have the luxury of wrapping things up. Usually they get, pulled off after 52 episodes or 65 episodes? So it's a big deal when cartoons do have an ending. And 8 years is a really good one. That's nothing to look down on. 8 years is a fantastic one. I consider 8 to 9 years to be the best time to end a series. And if not end a series, then usually a series at its peak. So, cheers to the people at the regular show as they set sail for their final adventure, which I hope will be kick-ass, and I know it will be that. I'm confident about that. Remember all that good stuff that we were hearing about what would happen? Remember all that good stuff that we were hearing about following the Universal buyout of Dreamworks Animation? That they're going to build new attractions based on the franchises, that they're going to launch new movies and new franchises. Well, for those 200-some animators, they are not going to be seeing any of that. It was just announced that Comcast will be laying off 200 animators starting this week. For many of them, they don't know yet, and they will find out as the week goes on. And that really sucks. No one likes to be laid off that way. I feel awful for those guys who are now wondering and are anxious about either their place in the studio or thinking ahead about, what they're going to do now. Those artists have worked their asses off in churning out the studio's films and TV cartoons. So for this mass layoff to happen is very sad. I feel awful for them. But I guess it's not a surprise either. After all, big mergers or buyouts usually cause mass layoffs to happen. In the case of DreamWorks, this is only like the cherry on top in what has been a pretty rough time for them of late. While other animation studios like Pixar have remained steady over the years, DreamWorks has struggled in trying to churn out successful films over the same period, while at the same time also, trying to do very artistic films that, raise the bar and the threshold, like How to Train Your Dragon or Kung Fu Panda. What makes the pain stinging is that new players like Illumination, which is, curiously enough, aligned with Universal, they have taken the place of DreamWorks in the market share. So, with the downsides in the animation staff, does that make Illumination the bigger player than DreamWorks under the Universal umbrella? Yeah, I believe so. Especially since the two studios will be seen by two different figureheads, which is different from Disney and Pixar, which are supervised by John Lasseter. Illumination is the reliable player that's bringing the money and the bacon, while Dreamworks Animation is still stuck in the financial ditch. And this all comes after last year's layoffs of 500 animators, so that's 700 plus animators that have been laid off over these past 2 years. So, here's to hoping for the best, to those animators, who are out of the job. I hope they are able to, to find a new job. And to those animators throughout the studio, I hope, things at the studio still turn around and then things get better for them. Fingers crossed on them. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out some of my other work, come check out my Facebook, blog, LinkedIn, and portfolio. And with that, so long, folks.